If you're watching this as part of a series, then we've just talked about quoting. And once you've won that order, once it's been quoted and you've won it, it then needs to get scheduled on the shop floor. So we're going to now talk about what happens when you need to schedule the job and how MyTrack Pro makes that process easier. Thanks for joining us. Are you worried about your scheduling system and how you schedule jobs in your machine shop or your laser cut shop? There's loads of different manufacturers that make loads of different products, Tom, and they've got to schedule it somehow. Now, most people, I guess, would they do that in their heads if they didn't have a software system?
I think some people will. Some people also will use Excel spreadsheets. The issue, as you've mentioned previously with both of those, is that especially when you do start to consider high volumes of work, trying to manage it all either manually or in your head becomes near impossible, I guess.
Absolutely. I've heard that, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that you can only hold kind of 6 to 8 different things in your head at once. And I guess quite a lot of people, you viewers at home will be, if you're running a machine shop, you'll be definitely scheduling more than 6 to 8 jobs a week, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we work with customers that probably are within that range, plus in some cases have hundreds, if not thousands of work orders going through the shop floor at any point in time.
So at what point do you think people will need to start adopting a scheduling software system? Because I assume people can go quite far with just kind of paper and pen and imagining it and getting a whiteboard and a Gantt chart style thing going on. At what point do you think people need to adopt one of these systems, or do you think anyone at any stage could adopt a scheduling system?
I would say anyone at any stage. I mean, it's one of those that, that I think sooner on in the process would be better, i.e. if you are a smaller company at the moment, implementing it sooner rather than later would be something worth considering.
So it's never too late to adopt a scheduling system?
At the same time, absolutely.
But what actually is a scheduling system? How does it work? It sounds like a problem that's quite hard to solve.
Well, there are several different theories, several different concepts when it comes to scheduling and capacity planning. Within MyTrack, there are predominantly 3. The first of which is our infinite backward schedule, which looks at a work order, the due date of that job, and works back accordingly using the predicted lead time. Very much sort of a high-level rough edge scheduler in that regard to give you some rough dates to work towards. However, on the flip side to that, we also offer an APS, or an advanced planning schedule, which is what we refer to as a finite planning scheduler. And essentially it runs a simulation. So when you run it, it looks at all your work orders you've got going through, and it schedules those against your available capacity, considering things such as machine availability, employee availability, which also then starts to look at things like holidays, shift patterns, skill sets that you may have on the shop floor. And really the idea of this is to give you visibility moving forward to try and preempt any issues that you may have ahead of time in terms of meeting customer due dates. The third and final option we then have is our whiteboard schedule. Of course, automation is great, but there is also that human element, that human oversight, if you like, that's needed, and therefore the whiteboard schedule enables users to manually manipulate it to suit how they want things to flow through the shop floor.
And you've just given us a great overview of what options are available for scheduling, Tom. But moving back to kind of the middle one, you're talking about the finite scheduling. What I find is interesting is not just handling the work orders that need to be done and scheduling them before the deadlines, but it's also handling kind of the big complicated system that is all the humans involved, which is shift patterns, it's holidays, like you say, it's illness, it's skill sets. And that again is something that if someone had to hold in their head, there'd be a lot of surprises down the line, wouldn't there?
Absolutely, and as you mentioned before, trying to manage that for hundreds, if not thousands of work orders, every day that someone has off potentially can have quite a big ripple effect from then on. So also within the system there is the ability to produce things like what if analysis. So if you do know that you've got a machine that's due to be serviced in the next 2 weeks and it's going to be down for 3 days, you can plan for that ahead of time. The same for holidays, as we mentioned before as well. So if you've got people that you believe are going to be away for a period of time, you can see what knock-on effect that will have.
I'm saying there might be some people, production managers watching this right now who think, oh my God, I have to have a big whiteboard of holidays, a big whiteboard of machine service times, planned downtime, unplanned downtime. There's a lot of complexity involved with running a machine shop and just keeping the machines going and manned. For those production managers, what do you think would be the main benefit for them?
I mean, there are several ways, it's all live data, and there are several ways in which we can alert people of potential issues that they may have. Let's say with the scheduling, it will tell you ahead of time if you are going to have issues, bottlenecks. On more of an ongoing basis, there are functions within the system for automatic emails that can be sent, i.e. at the end of each day, a list of jobs that were scheduled to be complete but have not yet been complete. A lot of our customers will have like live dashboards and KPIs on big screens in the offices or on the shop floor. Again, just really trying to get relevant information in the user's face rather than having to try and seek it.
Absolutely, it's really important to make sure that you know what is happening on your shop floor, and with all this rich data held inside the software, you need to surface that in some way to make it easily actionable, so your production managers can get good parts of the door and make sure they don't let customers down. Now, when it comes to the scheduling, you talked about the whiteboard system. Now, some people might be shouting at the screen, well, what happens if I've done all this fancy planning, I've got this fantastic schedule for the next month, but a machine randomly goes down, or a customer rings me up and says, look, I'm sorry, I really need these parts 2 weeks early. Can they just muck about with it a little bit? Because it's nice to have that big, complicated system, but if you can't adjust it, then you're going to have to just fudge something, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, automation's great. It's good for getting a fairly accurate schedule for a large number of jobs, but there is always that human element that, you know, is always going to be a part of production. And therefore, as you mentioned, the whiteboard schedule enables users to either manipulate what the APS or the backward schedule has calculated for them. On the other hand, we have some customers that actually build a schedule from scratch using the whiteboard, literally job by job.
Dragging and dropping.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I guess they probably see the value in actually just having it written down rather than on a physical whiteboard and having it available to everybody. And like you say, the emails are also really important to make sure production managers know what's happening on the shop floor at all times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. So if people want to get in touch, production managers are watching this and thinking, bloody hell, I need something to help me keep track of all my humans on the shop floor and all the machine tools and what's happening, how do they get in touch?
Best way would be through our website, which is mie-solutions.co.uk. On there is our telephone number, our email address, and also our contact us page.
So get in touch with that information should be coming on the screen now.